What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are back with another episode of Lions Latest, going to the latest Detroit Lions news, man. And today, we are back with a quick little update, but something that I've really never done before on this channel, so I don't really know how to handle this situation outside of just saying that all I'm going to tell you about in today's video is what we've heard and what we seemingly know so far. Outside of that, I'm not going to say anything, all right, because I really don't know. I have no experience or expertise in this category whatsoever, and on top of that, again, a lot of information has to sort itself out, so I'm in no rush to jump to conclusions. There is no benefit for me to be like, I was the one that predicted that. There's nothing for me to gain there. All I'm hoping is that this whole situation in the back end gets worked out and that everybody, you know, we're able to figure this thing out, because it doesn't sound good. But again, as someone that really doesn't understand these kind of situations whatsoever, or like how any of this actually works, I'm not going to act like I know how any of this works. So let me just throw that out there. I'm purely making this video because the news has been picked up by a lot of major sources. You know, NBC had it, then Bleacher Report posted it, and because of that, in case you missed this, if you guys are just following for that kind of information update, I did want to give you guys the information updates that we've gotten so far. But outside of that, that's all I'm going to give you for this. Again, don't take anything that I say as like, yeah, this is exactly what the truth is here. I'm just trying to tell you what we seemingly know so far and leave it at that. All right. But if you don't know what's going on here, so this was posted. Now read what Bleacher Report had posted here. Cam Sutton. So Sutton named an arrest warrant. Cam Sutton wanted on domestic violence charge in Florida. So that was what was reported today by Bleacher Report. Again, this has been picked up by a lot of major sources. And shout out to Easy, man. He sent me this picture this morning. Not gonna lie, I kind of thought it was fake. I looked at it, I was like, oh, that looks fake. It's just like a picture of Cam Sutton. It looks like Cam Sutton, but I was like, that's got to be fake. Then Dave Burkett on X and clarified, like, hey, this is legit. This is the Cam Sutton from the Detroit Lions. So that seems to be the truth that we know so far. It's wanted, and this was through the Hillsborough County Sheriff that had posted the wanted picture on their X account. And from just a little background information I was able to gather, I guess that the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office got a call on March 7th at 4:30 a.m. was contacted about Cam Sutton, and of course now it's March 20th, and we just got this posted today. I guess from what I was able to gather, the background on that is that they tried to reach out and contact him. They weren't able to get into contact to him, so they reached out on social media to see if, you know, maybe anybody knew exactly where he was. I don't know. I don't want to speak on what that exactly is. I did get sent this kind of little picture here from Easy. The domestic violence was listed there, and look, again, I have no details on the situation whatsoever. I just did some background reading to kind of read up on, you know, what that title was and what that could mean, and I won't go into any of that, but I will say, you know, just from the back, obviously there's a lot of nuance that would go into these situations where, you know, there's a lot of background things that have to get sorted out, like accusations as well. So again, I don't really know where that falls into the process of where this thing's at right now. I'm not going to speak on that because I have no idea. All right. I just don't know. All right. I'm doing sports management. Okay. Not criminal justice. I have no idea. With that being said, though, this is obviously does not sound great. When you flip it over to the Lions side of things, okay, from what this means from the Lions side of things. So all I was really able to gather, and this is one of those other things that I'll kind of let sort itself out. I'll let the cap guys really kind of dive into this and make sense of this, because it doesn't seem like I'm able to get a really clear answer, because I think there's also a lot of like how the NFL is going to handle this situation, you know, and we don't really know what's going to be dealt here for Cam Sutton. I mean, we don't really know what's going to happen here. I don't know, but I guess it's a lot of like how they end up deciding to handle a situation like this, because here, I'll just say this, from what I was able to gather, some of the background information, apparently if a player is suspended, for example, that could give you an opportunity to recoup some of the signing bonus. But the signing bonus, as we know, the guaranteed money, from what I was able to gather, that number isn't necessarily a number that you can just kind of earn back. Like, he's getting that money regardless of really what happens off the field. With that being said, though, I guess if it's a suspension, a team can recoup some of that money. But I guess it would be different if it was just like, hey, this happened, so the player ends up getting cut, still in for that bonus, you know, that was due to the player. The suspension would be really the only thing, I guess, that would kind of shake up like how the financials would actually play this, if that was to be something that happens. And when you look at Cam Sutton's cap hit, of course, he's got a 12.68 cap hit this season. He's also under contract next year, which is much more of an out after this season. If we're just looking at it from the contract cap side of things, and again, I'm not projecting the Lions are going to do this. I'm just going, if we were just looking at like, hey, let's say the player got cut, what would that mean? Well, based on what the contract's at now, Lions would essentially like lose $5 million in cap space. $1.5 million was guaranteed towards Cam Sutton on March 16th. $17.7 million in a dead cap if he was cut this season. Now, you would open up cap space next year, but you're not really saving anything this year. If anything, you're just kind of losing money just because of the way that he financially was kind of set up contract-wise. So maybe that's something that, it doesn't exactly take place there, if that's something like that needed to happen because of how the NFL may handle a situation like that. But I guess in the past when we've had suspensions, when you have suspensions, whether that's, for like a breach, for example, of a contract, then in that case, sometimes you can end up getting money back for a time that player's missed. But it doesn't sound like some of the proration bonuses or the signing bonuses is a area where you're going to necessarily get that money back, and some of that's just going to turn into dead cap kind of regardless there, and I guess we've seen that in the past with other players. With that being said, though, just to speak on what the Lions have done roster-wise, we did see the Lions go out and sign Amik Robertson on March 12th, so that would have been, 5 days after the situation, but it doesn't mean necessarily that the Lions were in the know of what the heck was going on at this point. Maybe they were, I don't know, maybe they called him immediately, maybe they did not, but because they weren't able to get into contact, I guess, with Cam Sutton, now this is posted on the 20th, all right? So we're about 2 weeks out from that situation. So I don't know when the Lions maybe were made aware of this, how the Lions feel about this, but we do know that the Lions definitely addressed that cornerback position. Obviously, Carlton Davis was first, and I don't think that one necessarily had anything to do with this, but it could have. But then they added Amik Robertson, and then most recently we also just saw Khalil Dorsey, which now we have his cap at $1.4 million for the season. So the Lions have built up a really pretty heavy cornerback room at this point. They have a lot of depth now sitting in there, back with Khalil Dorsey back into the building. You also have Gilmore in the mix. Now Carlton Davis through the trade. Also still have Brian Branch. You then went out and you acquired a guy like Amik Robertson and also Emmanuel Mosley. So if a guy like Cam Sutton wasn't here, those guys definitely to me would be competing for a starting position. That's kind of how I would view it. It also definitely makes the Kool-Aid McKinstry pick yesterday make a lot more sense, which, by the way, just to say that I knew nothing on this situation. Obviously, I'm just seeing this today, but that pick was not based on any of this. All right, and like I said, I even when we were doing our mock draft yesterday, like I was just trying to take the best player. I truly just took Kool-Aid at 29 because from what I had seen so far, based on where the board was at, he was the best player on the board. So I just took him, regardless of position. I just took him. And to speak to that point even more, when I took him, I thought Cam Sutton was here. So we'll have to figure out this whole thing in the back end. I'm not going to dive into it because I have no idea. The title is that he's being kind of put out there that this can be something that can be prosecuted a little bit more aggressively, from what I'm able to gather here as a domestic charge specifically. There's rumors and stuff about what it is. I won't go into any of that, but obviously, that stuff will get handled on the back end. I don't want to predict on what's going to happen there. I just want to leave you guys to the fact that there's a situation going on with Cam Sutton. We don't know what the future is here for Cam Sutton now. And with that, I'm just rooting for everything to be the best. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully Cam Sutton's all right and everything gets kind of settled in that situation and everything gets handled properly over there. And then for the Lions side of things, we'll know more as time goes on. I'm going to let this thing kind of sort itself out. I'm not going to jump to any conclusions because, like I said, there's no benefit in me doing that. I don't have a benefit jumping to this. I don't know anything on the situation, and there's nothing we can do. We're just sitting back and watching. So hopefully everything works out. Hopefully everything's okay here. But from a roster standpoint, I do like where we're at cornerback-wise. I see a post today that was, I guess, Pro Football Focus. Speaking on Cam Sutton, was like, oh, maybe he should move it to the nickel. Which, by the way, I said that when we signed him. All right? I said that when we signed him. But that's neither here nor there. I'm going to leave it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you, Prop, for watching. I'll try to keep you all updated if we get any other big-time news. But outside of that, I'm not going to go into anything else. Thank you, Prop, for watching, and I'm out.